What's up, guys? It's your girl Kia. I'm back for another video. I'm so glad that I'm able to be consistent more. Some things have changed in my life for the better, made some career choices to kind of, adjust some levers, and it's really working out. But before we go into my personal life, that'll never be another video. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Royce Reed. I've heard a few people talk about this. The only person who really got down to the nitty gritty of everything was Bonnie Blue. Huge fan of hers. But then I watched the lead attorney, and he got the story all kind of miscombobulated, which was kind of funny to listen to, but it kind of made me feel bad for the story. So Royce Reed, you all know Royce Reed because she used to be on the very first, I want to say the first, second, third, and maybe feature a little bit in the first season of Basketball Wives, that Shawnee O'Neal's show on VH1. At the time, she had gotten pregnant by Dwight Howard when he was playing for the Magic, and she was a dancer for the Magic. Dancers and players are not supposed to intermingle. It's like one of those forbidden weirdo rules that it just is not something you're supposed to do, but she did it and she got pregnant. He made her get a paternity test. It became a huge paternity dispute between her and him. She wanted to have their son featured on the show. He said absolutely not, while also not being involved in their son's life. It's been an ongoing thing where Dwight Howard has not been in his son's life. And that's not she's just saying that. That's something that he's kind of just, you've never seen him with his son, ever. It's just not something he's done. So Royce went on the show to have, I want to say while she was on the show, it might have been 2 boyfriends. And I'm assuming in real life outside of the show, they were around her son. It looks like to me she's had a lot of men around her son. So there's no telling what he has seen. What happened to Royce's son apparently is that he's now 13, he's 14. And he has been molesting other younger children in his life. So much so that he was kicked out of school, banned from school, not on some behavior, he's hitting kids or he's aggressive. Because they found out about it, they banned him from school. She was trying to find some alternative school options, but very few schools with a kid with a record like this will allow you to be in the school without a handler. Like for my son's a special needs kid, some kids actually have another TA that walks around with them to make sure that they're safe and that they're not, harming or hurting other children. Well, one of the boyfriends she's had, and she's mentioned several boyfriends on social media, one of the boyfriends that she had 2 young children. He finally asked her, like, why are you having such a hard time getting your son in school? I'm not understanding. And he told her, and that kind of made light bulbs go off in his head, and it would make it go off in any parent's head, where he asked his son, has anything happened to you? And the son admitted that multiple things have happened to him. I'm not going to go into it because I just don't like talking about the graphic child molestation things, but it was pretty graphic, and definitely trauma was put on the child by Royce Reed's son. And Royce was actually detained. She turned herself in, arrested. She doesn't want to call it arrested, but when she got to the place where she turned herself in at, she most likely was arrested. And the reason why she was arrested is because he had a ban for being around children that were younger than him. This was actually in the courts. It's filed. He is not supposed to be around children younger than him. Hence the reason why, if he's 14, he's not allowed to go to middle school, because there's going to be kids there who are younger than him. That's why he's having a hard time getting into other schools. I need to go to the bank, but because I want to finish this video, I'm going to pull over really quick and finish it up, and then finish up this video. Anyway, so she had a hard time getting him into the school, but she had him around the boyfriend's kids. That violates the protection order, or the order that the judge had in place. So she ended up getting arrested, detained, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of people are saying that this is Royce's fault, the kid's fault, Dwight Howard's fault. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to put majority of this on Reese. We have no idea. Let me fix the camera. We have no idea how much trauma Royce's son has been through. We don't know. He's molesting other kids and saying when he gets angry, he would force other kids to do things on him. That's learned behavior. There are some genetic traits that can take place where you're predisposed to, pedophilia. This isn't pedophilia. There is such thing as child-on-child molestation, but this is something completely different in most people's eyes. And being around as many boyfriends as he's been around for Reese. I mean, on the show alone, there were 2. On social media, there was 2. So there's 4. And there could have been multiple other ones. She even made a post about her son getting in bed with her and her boyfriend is talking about how lucky she is. I would never have a boyfriend in the bed with my child. That's just not something that I would do. I don't think it's appropriate parenting. And I know a lot of us don't want to make judgments on other people's parenting, but that's kind of where you draw the line. But other people have made comments that, you know, this is Dwight Howard's fault. I don't necessarily want to say that it's Dwight Howard's fault. He hasn't been involved in anything. And yes, it's going to have an effect on his son. You know, but there are a lot of fathers who are not in their children's lives and their children don't do things like this. This is him actually being from the way it sounds, an actual sexual predator at such a young age. I don't think people realize how rare this is. It's very rare to have a child be the type of predator that the affidavits is described as. I mean, he has gone after multiple children. To do things to him if he gets mad, and apparently it only happens when he gets mad. Like, it's one thing to, when you get mad, you're punching holes in the walls at 14, you know, that kind of makes sense. It's one thing to start cussing, having fits of rage when you're 14, that's one thing, but to use sex as a punishment or some kind of violent act is just insane to me. And I just want to make it known that, you know, a lot of single mothers end up in this weird situation. You want to be in a relationship so bad that you're not 100% vetting the man that you're with. And I know a lot of people probably say, well, how do you know a man's going to be a sexual predator? You don't. You just have to be vigilant as a parent. I mean, even me and my husband, we're kind of really very wary about letting our son, he's 16, but he's special needs, like I've mentioned on the channel before, about him going to other people's houses. It's just a weird situation, you know, because we don't know the parents 100%. If it's family, it's one thing. If it's complete strangers, it's just not, it doesn't sit well with us. The same thing with our children. Our children are 1 year old now, and we're probably not going to be the whole, you can go to so-and-so's house and spend the night, because we just don't feel comfortable. You never know what's going on in somebody's household. You never know what some people might think is appropriate that you're like, I don't think that's appropriate. And the same thing in our house, you know, we watch movies that curse. Some parents be like, absolutely not. I don't want my kids around cursing. And that's, every parent has their own decision. But a lot of single mothers, what I'm saying is, a lot of single mothers really want a man in their life, and they overlook certain key things. And I really do feel like her son, and I'm not going to say his name, I just don't think it's appropriate to say kids' names. I think her son has gone through some trauma that just has not been discussed. And whenever he decides to disclose what's actually going on or what happens to him, I am fearful of what that boy is going to say. It's very sad, you know. And Dwight Howard, for some reason, when Dwight Howard first came out, all of us thought he was this really good church boy who's going to have this great background, when in reality, he ended up being a dirtbag. And I think at this point in time, Dwight Howard has 7 kids. I think he's on the Nick Cannon plan of how many kids he has. He might have been the originator of this. He's had multiple girlfriends. There's also been rumors that he dates transgender women, which people keep bringing that up, that makes him some kind of sexual deviant, which I don't understand. That doesn't make you a sexual deviant because you date transgender women. Like, that seems that's transphobic. Like, let's cut that out. Or that he dates, he has a wide array of what he likes sexually, and that type of behavior could have gotten onto her son, you know, genetically or something. There's all these things out there. The reality is, the man hasn't been around his son long enough to actually imprint on him anything. Maybe a little bit genetics, who knows? I mean, no one can tell that. I know that Braylon has probably had a lot of issues because he needs a father figure, and maybe Royce has gone about it the wrong way to find a father figure. I can see that happening, but just blaming him, no. Do I believe Royce is wrong? Yes. Royce knew her son should not be around little kids, and had her son around her boyfriend's kids, and didn't tell her boyfriend or her boyfriend's mom. Like, that's something, when your child is something that serious, you have to tell both parents and say, listen, I really like you. You're the child's mom. Just so you know, this is what my son is dealing with. I can control. We just have to be more vigilant. And, I have him in therapy, because she does have him in therapy. You have to be open about these things. You can't just make a blanket decision and say, well, I really want to be with him, so I'm just not going to tell him. Just hope it works out. That's not fair. Like, that's like, you know, having AIDS or HIV and having sex with somebody unprotected, and it's like, you know, I really wanted to stay with him, so I didn't tell him. What? You can't take somebody's safety or health into your own hands. It's not fair. It's not right. And I believe that's what the court's why she got arrested. You blatantly didn't tell people about this huge issue that we've talked about with your son, and now you're in trouble. And she should be. You know, she should have been more careful around her son or what her son has seen. But, you know, on Life Full Circle Radio on Sunday, it's coming up this Sunday. I will drop the link down into the description below. We'll talk about this more this weekend. I just wanted to give my little bits of thought about it and see what you guys think, because I really want to know what other people think about this and how other single moms do it without running into this issue. So drop in my comments to get the conversation started, and I will see you next time. And I'm so excited to be doing more videos on YouTube. See you guys next time. Bye.